Hello students, welcome to video lecture series on unit number 6. The title of unit number 6 is Electronic Communication Systems. So as per the recent scenario, all of we know that these electronic communication systems help us a lot to deliver different types of teaching material to different student communities with the help of this electronic communication systems. So we are well using such type of systems nowadays, and you will also see the importance of this in engineering point of view in the forthcoming video series. So this is the division of the points of this particular module or unit based on 7 lectures. So this is lecture 1 on unit 6. In this lecture 1 we are going to discuss basic communication system. So this is the communication system. What is actually communication system? What are its different blocks? That we are going to discuss this lecture 1 on unit 6. So basic communication system, there is a block diagram. We will discuss the block diagram. And then further, what are the different contents of this particular module or unit that I will just highlight. Then in second lecture we discuss modes of transmission. So in how different ways we can transmit the signals or the data. Then what are the media? On what media we transfer the data or signals? So there are two types of media, wired media and wireless media. All are familiar with this. So this is very popular media nowadays, that is wireless media. Then one what basic principles the transmission is taken place. So that is actually the topic of discussion in unit lecture 4. It is the electromagnetic spectrum, EM spectrum. So electromagnetic waves, EM waves that are transmitted through air in atmosphere, and then that signals we detected at different places. So what is electromagnetic spectrum? What is their allotment frequency band for different applications? So we know that some are radio stations, some are audio video stations, some are internet based applications. So on such different applications, so what type of bands are allotted? Frequency bands are allotted. Some are the diagnosis areas also in medical field. So in that also X-rays, ultrasonic, infrared type of signals are used, and some are the military purpose applications also. Then the main theme of this particular unit is transmission and reception. So there are two types of transmission methods we are going to cover, that is called amplitude modulation transmission and receiving, and frequency modulation transmission and receiving. So these two methods are very important. AM, in that basic concept of AM, what is amplitude modulation, then how that modulation is useful for the transmission, and then what type of different methods are used for the reception of the transmitted signal at the user side, and then block diagram of FM transmitter and receiver. So this is frequency modulation technique. The same concept, the basics of FM, and then the transmitter block diagram and the receiver block diagram. And then finally different types of concept that is very useful, that is mobile communication, smartphone communication, or GSM communication, global system for mobile. So in that cellular concept, how the mobile communication happens around us. So what is their block diagram? So that also we are going to discuss in the last session, video session. So now today's topic is basic communication system. So in this basic communication system, this is again the curriculum mentioned. So the curriculum is mentioned in two sections: communication system and mobile communication system. So now this is the block diagram of basic communication system. Now let us first familiar with the blocks of the communication system. The flow is left to right side. The first block is information source. The information source is connected to the transmitter. This is simplified block diagram. The transmitter output is connected to the channel. The channel have one more input that is considered as a noise source. The output of the channel is given to the receiver, and the receiver output is given to the final destination. So this is overall idea about communication. So communication, what is communication? Communication is the process of exchanging information. It is used for conveying the thoughts, ideas, the feelings to each other. So now this conveying of these thoughts, ideas to the longer distance is through the electronic communication. So this can be done using electronic communication. So the local communication is face-to-face communication that is possible in classroom teaching and that. But longer distance communication, nowadays we are learning from homes. So that type of communication we can call as the electronic communication system. So in that we can have other examples of radio communication. We have different FM channels. So that is also the communication through the electronic, and then audio video communication, different channels, TV channels, different entertainment channels, sports channels, they are also considered as a electronic communication. And the last block is that is the text type of communication, that is internet type of communication, messaging type of communication, different mails we can use for that purpose. So main idea is the information may be available, the information may be in the form of audio signal, the information may be in the form of any physical parameter. We learn different physical parameters from unit number 5. For example, temperature, then we can have pressure, weight, then we can have level, displacement, flow. All such parameters are considered as a information source. So information source is not only the audio or video signal, it is also the data collected by the sensor. Okay, so now when we transmit audio and video signal, that is audio video communication, and when we transmit sensor signal, that is called as process signals, process data. So we can call that as a data type of signal, or it may be any text message, any written message, at any particular device. So that is called information source. So that information source is given their output after modulation. So before this transmitter, there is a modulation process. So there is a modulation process. So in that modulation process, the signal is converted into a suitable range for the transmission. Because audio or a data signal is not sufficient to transmit through ear directly, that is not possible, so that modulation is required. So in between information source and transmitter, there is a block called as modulation. So there may be amplitude modulation, there may be frequency modulation. That modulation output is given to the transmitter. The transmitter is of again different types. The transmitter transmit that data in different ways. The media that we have highlighted, there are two types of media. Either we can transmit it through the wires. So media, this channel may be the wire as a media. Then it may be wireless. This may be considered as a wireless. So channel is just a path to transmit the data from the antenna to the receiver. So receiver, again the demodulation concept is there. So there is a demodulator. Demodulator receives the data given to the receiver. So the data or the information, original signal is separated from the carrier signal. Carrier is the signal that is used in modulation as a second signal. So carrier helps to put the original information on their amplitude or frequency form, and then it is received at the receiver side. Receiver receives the data, separated the carrier, carrier is filtered out, and only original data, original message, original sound, original video, any sensor information is only given to the destination. So now it is clear that in the transmitter side there is a modulation, take place, and in the receiver side there is a demodulation take place. So there are different types of transmitters we will going to discuss in the forthcoming videos, and there are again types of receivers also. Transmitter, there is a concept of modulation, and the receiver, there is a concept of demodulation. Channel is what? Channel is the media, either it is wired media or it is wireless media. Means it's a very simple thing. The information is transmitted using different techniques, amplitude modulation technique or frequency modulation technique or any other digital modulation technique. It is transmitted through ear or it is transmitted through wires. If it is low, it is short distance communication, then wires are prepared. In the receiver side, the signals are decoded again, means demodulation. Original signal is received and that is given to the destination. Either we can view it, we can see it, we can listen it, we can observe it, anything is possible in destination. In that, it is also considered that some noise can also possible to add during the transmission media. So this is, I think that you have understand the very basic fundamental block diagram of communication system and idea of communication system. So the points they are in the forthcoming videos, they are based on this transmitter and receiver part and some basic concept of this different medias of transmission, wired and wireless media, and in what type of signals we can transmit through this. If we consider wireless, then how it can be transmitted, and if we consider wired communication, then how it can be transmitted. That we will discuss in the next lecture. So now each and every block is explained. What I have already explained to you, the same is mentioned in this particular section. Information source, then there is a transmitter, then there is a channel. It's a physical medium, either it is wired or wireless. So in wired, there are copper wired, maybe coaxial cable, maybe fiber optic cables are considered, and in wireless maybe radio waves, microwaves are considered. Then there is a receiver. There are different types of receiver that receives the signal and it is further given for the display purpose, that is destination. So this is about the lecture 1 on unit 6. I hope that you understand a very fundamental block diagram of communication system. Thank you.